Hey, are we all good? Okay, hold on to your seats, ladies. I'm not going to say gentlemen because it's just ladies because it's Women in Money Cafe. Hold on to your seats. We have a whistle-stop tour for you today of all the jargon that you can find in pensions. It's literally an A through to, it's not Z, we couldn't find a Z, but we're going quite near the end of the alphabet. But before that, we have a new little segment where Catherine's going to tell you about what's rocked her world this week.
So we're on pension jargon. Please stay with us. It's not as dull. In fact, we've done our best to make this as entertaining and light-hearted as we can. So if you are listening and you happen to have pension statements or notepad and pen, this is the episode where we're going to demystify and confirm in the simplest, quickest way possible some of those unattractive acronyms and jargon that are littered all over your pension statements. I'm going to start actually just by throwing you guys into the deep end. And we're going to just go around in circles to see how we do at simplifying, because we say we do this. We say we simplify pensions. We say we simplify finance. So this is our test to ourselves to see how we really get on. So pension jargon number one, I'm going to throw this one out onto the sofa to Michelle or Julie. Can one of you define SIPP for our listeners, please?
Ding.
Oh, I need a buzzer. I want a buzzer. To Julie, off you go.
It's like a personal pension. It's just you can put different stuff in it.
Correct. Is that the correct answer? Yeah. Effective, just that stands for self-invested personal pension. So any exciting bits you can add to it that you just want to tell us a bit more about, Julie?
Okay, so you can put commercial property in it, which is dead handy if you're the kind of business that has premises. So that could work out really good for the business. Dead tax efficient. Other things you can put in it, like a normal personal pension, you're going to be restricted to some of the funds sometimes that your pension provider has. But with a SIPP, you're allowed to go out into the universe, excuse me, and invest in whatever you can find.
I think that's a really, really simple description there. You can do that via a platform. So that's me as question host. I'm going to pass over to Michelle to ask the next question.
Well, I definitely wasn't quick enough there, was I?
No.
So for my question, I'm going to throw it out there and I'm going to say LTA.
You see, there's two things that came up to mind there, but in this one, it's lifetime allowance. But I did also think lifetime annuity, which is also pensions and also LTA. Lifetime allowance, that's the total amount you are allowed to save into your pension within the current tax rules within your lifetime, which is currently just over £1 million and a little bit of inflation. Michelle, what's the exact number?
It's £1,073,100.
There you go. That's that funny number. Why can't they just round it up for people like me to keep things simple?
See, I've got used to it now. If they change it, I'll be thrown completely.
I'm going to cover lifetime annuity as well. Will I get an extra point?
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks.
Hang on, did you get that done in a sentence?
Oh, Michelle?
You were close.
Close. Okay, I'll do better with lifetime annuity. Lifetime annuity, it's an annual income that you can take at retirement by converting the value of your pension fund. Guaranteed income for life.
Nice.
Well done. Yes.
All right, ladies. Right, fingers on buzzers. Okay. I'm going to throw two in here. Are you ready? Two at the same time. I'm going to ask you to tell me in as few words as possible what the annual allowance is and what the money purchase annual allowance is, aka the MPAA and the AA.
So I'm going to go in. So the AA, annual allowance, is the amount of money that you are allowed to put in your pension in a tax year on which you can receive tax relief. And the MPAA is the money purchase annual allowance, and that is the amount you're allowed to put in your pension in a tax year if you have taken some taxable pension income from a personal pension.
Oh, fabulous. I'm giving you 1.5 points for that. I like that. Okay. What have we got up next, ladies?
Oh, it's me now to ask. There was me calculating. Why did she get 1.5 points?
Because I just make up random point scoring system. I didn't realize that you were taking this seriously, Catherine, with a competitive edge. There is no prize at the end.
I have middle child syndrome. I cannot help it. Okay, are we ready? First one with fingers on the buzzers to describe in simple terms what is called Offal Plus or UFPLS.
Ding.
Yes.
I'll take that one.
Go, Michelle.
So that is your uncrystallised fund pension lump sum. So this is where you access a personal pension or SIPP, and it means you take a lump sum, 25% of it is tax-free and the rest of it is taxable.
Yay.
Fantastic.
Nice
See, the
sentence.
thing is, when I see that written down or when we talk about it, okay, so in the industry, it's known as F plus, right, folks? But when I see that written down, it just makes me, I don't know why, but it makes me think of the Oompa Loompas.
Makes me think of a delivery company, PCLS.
What the
Yeah, see, I
hell were
think
they
of-
thinking?
I think of Hufflepuff from Harry Potter.
Oh. And all of these
Maybe-
things, each of them are infinitely more interesting than pensions.
Absolutely. What if we could rechange all the jargon around pensions into friendly words like Hufflepuff?
It'd be lovely,
Mm.
wouldn't it? Our job would be great every day.
I think
Right.
you are question master now, aren't you, Michelle?
I think I am. So I am going to put out there, it's a double one. So it's money purchase and defined contribution.
I'm going to let Julie do this because she defined this
Buzz.
earlier so nicely in one sentence.
I've swapped my ding for a buzz. Okay, money purchase and defined contribution are the same thing. Why do we keep having phrases for the same bloody thing? I don't know. Okay, but it's a kind of pension, and it's probably the one that you've got right now. And we call them DCs, defined contribution. We know what's going in, but we have not got a clue what's coming back out again. So you know that you save or contribute £200 a month. So you know what's going in, gets invested, it's going to grow, hopefully, but to what we do not know.
I love that description. The unknown.
You know the defined contribution, but not the end. Very good. Well done, Jules.
Okay, so if I've just done the whole DC, we know what's going in, but we don't know what's coming back out. All right, so we're going to go for another two for ladies. Right, so this is all the jargon you're going to see written on your pension paperwork and emails and communications, what have you. So the next one I've got for you, it's actually a 3-for-1. All right, I've got final salary, defined benefit, and career average earnings. Care.
Ding. I'll go for that one. So this is probably the one that I probably deal with quite a fair bit. So final salary, DB defined benefit, and care is career average related earnings. And they're all the same thing, primarily that they provide you a guaranteed pension in retirement. And it's usually contributed either by you and your employer or just your employer. But it's a guaranteed income.
So it's kind of the opposite to the DC, isn't it? You
Yes.
know what is going to come out at the end.
But we haven't got a clue what went in.
No.
No, seriously, folks, we're not making that bet
No,
up.
we
We haven't got a clue what goes in, but we know what you're getting back out of it.
And I think it's, so total opposite of your DC. So when we talk about DBs and DCs, that's what we're talking about.
But we try not to use phrases like that in front of you.
No,
'Cause it's
that
jargon.
just makes me think like a rock band, like ACDC, CCDB. So, I mean, effectively, they are the two main types of pensions, aren't they? Yours is either going to be, you know what's going in, or it's going to be the type where you know what comes out.
Yes.
And Michelle, as our expert, tell me if this would be fair to say. Right, so everybody that's listening right now that's got a pension that they're paying into, chances are it's one of these money purchase things, or it's a care scheme. The old final salary ones, you're not going to walk into a new one now. But
No,
that's
the
a
only
historic
ones you're
thing.
probably going to get are your civil service or unfunded, so teachers' pensions or NHS. They are
Right.
sort of your defined benefit, your final salary, but in your sort of private sector, they've pretty much all closed. So they're now just sort of sat there, and you might have a pension, you get a statement for every year, and it just tells you how much you're going to receive in retirement. And it'll just update you every year.
Right, fantastic. Right, who's in charge of the questions now?
I'm in charge of the questions.
All right.
So dust off your buzzers and tell us in one sentence, what is salary sacrifice?
Ding.
Michelle dinged.
So salary sacrifice is where you give up some of your salary in order to make pension contributions, but you save income tax and national insurance because you've given up that bit of your salary.
Nicely done. So there are, I think maybe on another episode, we'll go into some of the pros and cons of that, because it's something people might see as part of their works pension or be offered, and it's certainly worth talking about if they are, but it does have some downsides as well. So well
Yes.
done, Michelle. Is anyone keeping score?
I am, but it's very creative.
Is it very good? So
I like creative.
Depends how I
handing
feel
questions to you
and if I'm paying attention.
and whether you answered it.
I
Michelle,
haven't given
your
myself
turn.
any points yet.
So I'm question master now, is that right?
You are.
Okay, so the next one is one that many people will see. Flexible access drawdown.
I've got a beep. This is one of my favorites, actually. So your pension that you're saving into will go up and down in value. And then when you retire, you keep that same type of pension. It's still invested. It still goes up and down in value, and you can flexibly access it by selecting how much income or lump sums you want to take from it at any time during retirement.
Perfect.
Beautiful.
Thank you. Thank you. Is that 7 points?
29.
Oh, perfect.
I did say it was creative, didn't I? Okay, so, all right, fingers on buzzers, ladies. Okay, this sounds a lot more fun than it actually is. Okay, carry forward.
I don't know, it's either got the same buzzer sound or does it change every time?
It does change, but it's quite good.
Okay, oh, thanks. So carry forward is simply if you've used your full annual allowance, so that's how much you can put into a pension for this tax year, then you can go back and use a number of previous years. ISA allowance is gone, use it or lose it. Pension annual allowance, you can potentially take a further 3 years back or forwards.
Fantastic. Another 90 points.
Wow, I'm acing this now. That's right. I'll go back to being question master just to fair it up. What I'm going to do is choose the ones I know I can't answer.
That's cheating, I think.
Are we ready, ladies? Can you please explain to us, this is a double one, C or FSAVC?
Oh,
Close one, close one. I'm going to hand that one to Michelle first with her gentle bings.
So AVC is additional voluntary contributions, and FSAVC is freestanding additional voluntary contributions. Effectively very similar. It usually stands alongside a workplace pension where you can put additional voluntary contributions in to build up your pension. And the freestanding one means it's not with the current provider who provides your workplace pension. Very useful.
44 points. I give, but I can easily take away again.
So is it my turn for questions now? I'm going to put out there. Oh, it's kind of trying to pick now, isn't it? Cash equivalent transfer value. That was a different one.
Pension B to a pension duck.
Julie.
Cash equivalent transfer values. Woohoo! That is a really horrible, complex phrase. And you'll also hear us refer to it as a CETV.
That's what I was umming and ahhing about because I nearly said that. And then I thought, no, I'll actually say the name.
Right. So just because it's easier, it's quicker to write and say a CETV rather than the cash equivalent transfer value. Okay, so if you've got one of these old final salary schemes that we were talking about, and you get a statement from them or you ask them about transferring it, they will send you about 50 pages of all kinds of complex numbers on it. But the big one will be the CETV. And that's telling you, if you picked up your final salary pension and moved it to a personal pension, this is how much they would give you to go away from the scheme. It's paying you to leave the scheme and we will never pay you anything again. Take your lump of money, go away and play in a personal pension.
Perfect.
That was how I first ever found out anything about pensions. It was the statement with CETV, and I'm on ET phone home. This is how my brain works.
I can
You've got ET
understand that.
CETV. Let me guess, was he a member of the BT pension scheme?
The BCE.
Oh my.
I think it might be Julie's turn to ask.
Oh, hang on. I'm going to give myself 2 points for that. I'm just writing it down.
Oh.
2.
I think that's at least.
I know. No, I'm building up slowly. Okay. Right. I'm trying to pick the ones that people will actually hear bouncing around. And do you know what? I'm going to throw this one in because I did see it on a pension provider's website the other day. Origo.
Beep.
Bing. Oh, well, let Catherine have that one.
well, do you know, I beeped and I thought, actually, can I put that into one sentence? I think it's just the service that transfers the pension from its current place to its new place. So if you're moving it or accessing it at retirement, you can use the Origo system, which is quicker.
It's a system that lets some providers talk to each other. So in olden days, and occasionally now, moving a pension from company A to company B can be 6 months.
Yeah.
But if they're on the Origo system, it is considerably less painless. So it's a pension company thing.
And it's paperless too, which is lovely, rather than a million forms to fill in to move a pension.
Doesn't mean they're not going to still ask you for paperwork.
No, I know that. I've had one of those this week, but yes.
In theory, it's paperless.
So who's next?
It is me. It is I. It is I. Okay, I'm going to bring this one out because my husband's pension statement came this week and it has one of these on it. What is a GAR? G-A-R.
Bing.
Go on, Michelle.
So that is your guaranteed annuity rate. So a lot of older style pensions, there aren't many of them around today, to be fair, new ones.
My husband is old.
Oh, I didn't mean it that way. But this means that you will get a guaranteed annuity rate. So you'll have your pension is worth an amount of money. It means that you exchange it for a guaranteed income for life, but with a guaranteed annuity rate, you generally get a very good enhanced rate of income back. So better than a standard annuity rate.
And you don't get many of these nowadays, but if you do see it written on your paperwork, don't go messing about with your pension for the hell of it. All right. Get advice on that one before you do anything to it, because there's little nuggets of gold hidden in there, and you want to know about the nuggets of gold before you mess about with it, because you can lose them if you break the pension.
Definitely. And I've seen some really fantastic retirement incomes as a result of guaranteed annuity rates that they had no idea they even had. So the next one I'm going to put out there is Crystallised.
Beep.
That was a very quiet beep.
It's a kind of like reluctant beep, that one, but I'll give that one a go. So when you're saving into your pension, it's uncrystallised. You've not taken anything from it. You've not taken the tax-free cash or the taxable income. There will be an event or a time around retirement where you access some of it, either annuity, flexible access, drawdown, or offer plus. And at that point, part or all of it will become crystallised. So it's the post-retirement part of your pension.
I've got some Minecraft picture in my head now, all this talk about crystals. So I've got my pension pot, and it's maybe just made of, I don't know, bedrock. And then I'm going to turn it into pension income, and it gets crystallized. And now it's all green and shiny or something. Anybody that's got 10-year-old sons knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, I get it.
So,
Again,
so far, we've had Harry
friendly
Potter,
language, is it? Yes.
we've had Minecraft. We are making pensions way more interesting than they actually are. Like, so I think now that we've brought up the whole crystallization thing, right? I think that leads us nicely on to, and like there's stellar points on offer for anybody that can do this succinctly. Okay, BCEs. Hit me with your BCE explanation, Catherine.
So benefit crystallization event. So the word crystallization, it means that something is happening to your pension. So you're not just saving into it, you're doing something. And at that point, your pension will be valued against your lifetime allowance, that $1 million plus inflation, 73,000 and something another, Michelle. And those events will occur at certain things like turning 75 or taking your pension and your taxable amount. And there are other events, but effectively that's what it is. It's a measure of the value of your pension when you do something.
Oh, fantastic.
I liked that.
I thought I did quite well there, actually.
Did you do your homework on that one?
No.
Because that sounded really prepped.
It did sound quite prepped.
I think there's something like between 14 and 20, isn't there, BCEs, when you break it down into all the subcategories.
And it's actually really a complex area, so that was fantastic.
Thank you.
Yeah, well done for not going down the BCE hole.
So I'm going to just ask a separate question. So this goes back to GARs. This goes back to these special things that you've got on your pension that you don't want to move your pension away if you've got them without advice. So what is a GMP, Michelle?
So GMP, you will see on you will see on some types of old personal pensions and in your final salary and defined benefit pensions. GMP is guaranteed minimum pension. So this is where you were contracted out of SIPPs, or the state earnings related pension. And that GMP needs to provide you with a pension equivalent to what you would have received had you not contracted out of SIPPs. So it can, in some cases, limit other benefits that you receive from your pension. So it is quite key. If you see that on a pension statement, definitely go and try and seek some financial advice, because again, a bit like a GAR, you never quite know what you've got. That was a bit longer than the sentence.
1,000 points for that, though.
I think you take a few off for it being longer than a sentence.
Okay. Hang on, 996.
Over to you, Michelle.
Okay, so next one, I'm going to go with PCLS.
Bing, bing, bing.
Julie's eyes lit up as well then.
Oh.
This one really does my head in. It does. So what Michelle just said there was PCLS, which stands for Pension Commencement Lump Sum. And you're listening to this and you think, I haven't got a bloody clue what that is. Do you know what? You do. You know it better as tax-free cash. So your pension pot, when you're allowed to take 25% of it as tax-free cash, but God only knows what reason, they changed the name of it a while back to PCLS, Pension Commencement Lump Sum, because that's sexier and it rolls off the tongue. Doesn't. What it did do is give us all a little bit of a stress a while ago when they changed the name, because they thought, hang on, the phrase tax-free isn't in there. And we all had a little bit of a panic. Had they taken away the tax status of it? They're not. That one rolls around every budget. Not happening yet.
No, that's and it's great because, like you say, it's not the most straightforward term. And probably, can I just stick another one on there because it is very much linked to it? So you're protected tax-free cash. Does anyone want to take that one?
I'll add to that. So the PCLS stroke tax-free cash that Jules mentioned is 25% standard. So if your pension's £100,000, there's £25,000 tax-free. If your pension has protected tax-free cash, you may have more than the 25%. And again, if you see PTFC or protected tax-free cash on a pension statement, just like GMP and GAR, go and get some advice, because if you move it, you may lose that additional tax-free cash. And who doesn't like a bit of tax-free cash?
Absolutely.
But notice they didn't change it to protected PCLS.
PCLS.
They didn't do that, did they?
Just, there's a memo that needs to go out now, Michelle.
Definitely.
Jules, you're to ask, I think.
All right. Okay. I'm paying attention. All right. Okay. So this is not necessarily phrases you're going to come across all the time. Okay. But if they do feature in any of your pension paperwork, it's really, really critical to get your head around what it actually means. Because otherwise you're looking at a bit of paper and you think, that's not much. But these two words are about to supercharge the money. Oh, Michelle's eyebrows just gone up. She knows what I'm going to ask. Okay, so who would like to explain to me what revaluation and indexation is?
I'll go for that one. So revaluation and indexation, you will see, and if you have a final salary, defined benefit pension, this is the revaluation is how your pension increases before retirement, and indexation is how it increases after retirement.
Yay.
Yay.
I write about those a lot.
And I get excited there because you get your bit of paper and it says you're going to have £1,000 when you retire, and you're like, and like the words you missed before that is pension at date of leaving. And so every year since that date of leaving, it's like the pension's had a pay rise. That's the indexation. And then when you start getting the pension, you get a pay rise. That's a revaluation. And that's just wonderful. So it means that number's a lot bigger than it looks on the bit of paper. Oh, I got all animated by pensions.
You did. I'm impressed. I'm going to throw in another question now. And it's on a similar vein around about what the numbers are at a certain time. Who wants to explain early and late retirement factors?
Whoop. No, go on, Michelle. Go on. I don't really want to do it.
I'm sure you made a noise there. Was that like, no?
So early and late retirement is where, again, final salary, defined benefit pensions. You can retire earlier than the normal retirement age of the scheme. So say your retirement age of the scheme is 65. If you retire at 60, they'll let you have your pension, but they're going to reduce it because you're taking it 5 years early and they've got to pay it 5 years longer. And if you leave later, you may, not always, get an uplift in your pension because you didn't take it early. So they're paying it to you for less time. But that one's not always a guaranteed. Some of the schemes don't let you have it. Some of them do. So I'm going to go with net and gross.
Woo.
Oh, hang on. It was a less than enthusiastic response from myself and Catherine.
It was, wasn't it?
Would you like to do this one, darling?
I'll start. You can embellish. How about that? So net and gross simply talk about the income or contribution in relation to has it had tax. So if it's money going into the pension and then you've got tax relief, it would be net going in and then gross once it's had its tax on. If it's coming out of its pension, it's gross, receives its tax, and then it's net. So it's kind of exactly the same as on every single pay slip. Here's your lump sum of whatever. Here's how much the tax man's having, and now it's net.
Well, in a nutshell, right, if you've got £80, you're going to stick it in a pension. So £80 net went in by the time it arrives in the pension because of the tax relief. Another £20 being chucked in. So your £80 net has turned into £100 gross.
I had a client this week who I explained that to, and she's quite young, and she got so excited. She went, well, it just magically turns into that. I was like, yes. And she was like, that's amazing. So I haven't got to pay that much. No.
No, it's guaranteed 20% uplift.
Yeah.
That's why people do it, folks. That's why they do pensions. All right, I've got an interesting one. It sounds like a 1980s board game.
Oh, the brown triangle.
Okay, who would like to explain what the flip triviality is?
I will. Beep. Okay, so when you take your pension, we alluded to a couple of things earlier. So if you take taxable income from your pension, it will reduce how much you can pay back in. But there is a couple of exceptions. If you've got a teeny tiny pension, and by tiny in triviality rules, for a defined contribution, it's under 10,000, you can take the whole lot and it doesn't affect your MPAA. Because we often talk about, shall I combine all my pensions? There are some reasons to keep a few smaller ones separate, because you've got the flexibility to access them at different times as lump sums if you want. The same rules apply with tax, 25% tax-free and 75% taxable.
I think that was beautifully done, wasn't it?
Thank you. Do I get a little brown triangle for that one?
No, but I've given you an
My
extra 40
triviality.
points. Would you rather have a brown triangle or 40 points?
Well, in my little triviality circle would be.
Hang on, I'm going to cross that out. I'm putting a brown triangle. Hang on, I need to go and find a brown felt tip. I will be back. Right. Okay, I think we're nearing the end of our A to Z. We've got a few more to go. Michelle, are you fit to ask a question? For everybody, Michelle and Catherine aren't very well, and they're taking it in turns to mute and cough and sip and yeah.
I think I'm back in the world of living again now after my coughing fit. So next one. So this is something that I had a client actually come to me for advice for, because he'd seen this written on his pension statement, and he said, before I do anything, what does this mean? So it's MVR.
Oh. Can I just, is it what I think it is?
Market value reduction.
So is this like what you would see on a with profits fund? Okay.
Yeah.
So it's not nice, people, this. Okay, so if you see this written on your pension paperwork, like, don't do anything with your pension without getting an advisor, first of all. Okay, so a market value reduction factor or adjustment factor is when they're gonna, I don't want to badmouth pension companies and life companies, but they're not gonna give you all your money. There's a penalty there if you move or do something with it. And this can be influenced by market conditions. So just because it's there right now doesn't mean it will always be there.
Yeah, and I think that's a perfect way of saying it, because he was about to cash in his whole pension and just saw this on a little piece of paper at the back of the pack. And it was actually quite a chunky market value reduction.
Eek.
And actually, we just waited a few months and it sort of disappeared.
Fantastic.
because markets improved. But yes, that was one thing, he just sort of said, oh, I just thought I might ask. And he just phoned up on the off chance before he filled in the paperwork. So definitely get advice if you see that one written anywhere.
Right. What I'm picking up from this, right, is pensions are easy to go start. Just go start, pick one, stick some money in, and off you go. All right. Just anything is better than nothing. But there is some of the terminology that when you see it and you come across it, that's a red flag to come and get one of us, because we will stop you making an expensive mistake, either getting a tax charge or inadvertently, accidentally giving money to life companies to bolster up the profits, which we're not a fan of.
No.
Right. So there's some of the jargon is when you call one of us in, because we will save you money. But some of it's really simple. So don't let this put you off. Go and start a bloody pension. Just stick money in it. It'll be fine.
Yeah.
Not personal
Definitely.
financial advice or a sentiment.
It's always better to have that pension in the background, and some of them maybe you've had there and you find them. My clients find down the back of the sofa and they find paperwork. That's the time, as you say, to come and get the advice, just to make sure there is nothing quirky.
Well, what you can do is you could just listen to this again. So get your pension paperwork, get a highlighter, highlight all the phrases. You're like, what the heck does that mean? Listen to the podcast on like super fast speed until you get to the phrase that you want. And then you'll know if it's one of those phrases where you need to get one of us, not us three specifically, because there's like 20,000 advisors in the UK, but you need one of us.
My little sort of rant side of it is that this is where providers are letting people down, because they should be explaining this clearly to them on their paperwork.
Well, they are explaining it clearly with phrases like pension, commencement, lump sum, and cash equivalent transfer values. What more do you want? Come on.
I know I'm asking a lot.
That's treating customers fairly, isn't it? Right, I think we're near the end of the list. By my calculation, we've got 2 left, folks.
It's my turn to ask as well. We have, what is tapered AA?
Bing.
No, looking at Michelle very steadily there.
So tapered AA is, so I won't go into the detail because it's very complex, but if you're a particularly high earner, your annual allowance, the amount you can put into a pension each year, may be reduced because of how much you earn. And there's quite a complex calculation that goes into that. But again, if you're a high earner and you're contributing to a pension, it's better to seek advice just to check that you're not over contributing, because you won't be getting tax relief on the bit that's over what you're allowed.
Basically, if you're a high earner, get an advisor.
Yeah.
Right. I think we've got one left. I don't know if I can say this properly, but I'm going to try. I struggle with this word. I should let someone else do it.
I'm trying to work out which one it is.
Right. Commutation. See, if I say it like I'm English, I can do it.
Bing.
I'm going to say that one more time. Commutation.
So commutation is, again, final salary defined benefit pensions. So when you get given your statement of how much you're going to get in retirement, because that's your guaranteed income, you can give up a bit of that income to get a tax-free lump sum. And commutation is just that process. You're commuting some of your pension income to receive a tax-free lump sum. So the more tax-free cash you have, the lower your pension will be.
What's interesting about this, and Michelle, I know you come across this a lot more than I do, but I've got a lot of clients with housing association pensions. Mm-hmm. And I've noticed that they're all starting to get a lot more creative with the options that you have at retirement. So it used to be one sheet of paper, right? You're retiring at age 65, you're getting this lump sum and you're getting this pension. And now we've got 4 pages of options. So we've got option 1A, option 1B, and it's all to do with this trading off the lump sum and also trading off the indexation in retirement as well.
Yeah, definitely. And I think I'm seeing it a lot more in all the ones that I deal with. And it's really one of the schemes, I suppose, limiting their liability to an extent into what options they give you. But it's also them trying to be a little bit flexible if they can, particularly schemes that you can't transfer out of. They're trying to provide you with a little bit of flexibility in what you can and can't do. They're not all like that, but as you say, I'm seeing it more and more. I've had ones where you've had options up, so many, and then the client sort of looks at you and says, which one do I take? And you then have to tailor it to their circumstances like you would when you're taking something flexibly.
I think you deserve a bonus point, Julie. I liked that term trading off to describe commutation.
Yeah.
So you can have more income and less tax-free cash, or you
Ooh.
can
I'm
commute
in
some of
double
that income,
digits now.
trade off and have more tax-free cash and less income.
So we'll put together like a little crib sheet with our take on it, and we'll put a link to it in the show notes, because some of it will be educational and some of it will just be entertaining.
Funny.
Yeah, definitely.
But not necessarily factually correct.
I think that rounds all of our jargon that we had brainstormed prior. If you do have something on your pension statement that we haven't covered, then do drop us a line. I think that neatly brings us on, doesn't it, Jules, to we are introducing a new segment into the podcast. Do you want to tell us about it, Julie?
Right. So we have been promising you for ages that we're going to do an episode on apps, because like we love apps. We do. Some of them are really, really good. But we thought if we do an episode on it, it's going to get out of date really quickly. So every now and again, as we come across a new app that we've got dead excited about, we'll give it a little mention during the show. So as you can imagine, we've got quite a back catalogue of apps that we love. But there are some that have come to our attention recently. So Catherine's got a really cool one she's going to tell you about today.
Okay. So I'm going to tell you about an app called Tulip Share. Now, what I like about Tulip Share, it's kind of where activism meets investments. So for those that know me, quite political with my money. So I like to choose where I put my money and where I don't put my money. Now, one of the downsides about choosing not to invest in companies that you don't feel are ethical or sustainable is you don't actually have any shareholder rights. Now, if you own shares in a company, you actually have a right. And one of those rights is that you can vote. Now, with Tulip Share, what they do is they pool your shareholder rights. So you own a small percentage, a small share, and then they do the voting for you. So you can select, for example, to buy a share in Amazon, and then the pooled vote will be that they vote that Amazon take care of their workers better, for example. So it's really using your money to be activist, if that's what you choose to be. That is not a recommendation. Obviously, with any investment, there is risk, but that's Tulip Share, and it's simple, it's low cost, but your capital is at risk.
Is it like crowdsourcing a conscience?
That's a lovely example.
Oh, that's awesome. Thank you very much, Catherine.
You're welcome. I feel like I've gone silent now. I think I am meant to say something.
You're in charge today, Mrs.
I am in charge. I do apologise, everyone.
God help us.
I know, I've got a real sponge brain. So I really do think we have exhausted every piece of pension jargon, and we've done the new app segment. So Michelle, is there anything that you'd like to add?
Well, I think we've exhausted the pension jargon, as you said, and I think my head's sort of a bit all over the place now, particularly with my cold as well. I'm a bit all over there. And the app, no, I'm going to have a look at that. I'm not a very technical person in terms of my phone. So I do lots of other stuff, but I don't play with apps very much. So this is encouraging me now to go and play with apps. And I might even find one that I can tell you about.
Fantastic. This one's very straightforward. You won't have a problem with that one at all.
So I'm going to go and have a look, but thank you.
You're welcome. We did get you into Vinted though. So, you know, there's hope.
Yeah, in a very big way.
Oh. Do we have a Vinted update?
So, yeah, I've probably made about £200 from Vinted of selling bits and pieces.
Nice.
So that's going towards my spending money for my holiday. So yes, I've got a bag of stuff next to me to go on as well. So
Is this all Christmas jumpers?
It was.
So that must be quite seasonal.
So these are all now summer clothes that I'd never be seen dead in.
For those that missed it, we introduced Vinted for our Christmas challenge. And this is when we found out that Michelle has a jumper in her wardrobe that nobody should see. Was it a knitted one? Remind us.
Yes, it's a red knitted hooded jumper, which is still in my wardrobe. Actually, I didn't actually sell that. And now I'm doing very flowery things. And if anyone who knows me, I wear navy, I wear black, and I wear white. So flowery is not going to be in there. So there's a lot of flowery stuff on Vinted of mine.
Did you go shopping in the dark?
I think you'll find that might be why I was slightly encouraged by my mum, who loved anything colour and floral.
Okay.
Perfect. Julie, anything to add to today's jargon-esque episode?
No, I just hope that people found it helpful that we've started to try and break it down. I think what we will probably do at some point in the future is we will do an investment jargon one as well. And again, these are ones that you can listen at 3 times speed until you get to the phrase that you're like, what the heck was that again? And it's just there as a resource to dip in and out of.
Perfect. Thank you. And look out for the crib sheet. We'll put that in the show notes. Do reach out if something didn't make sense or you've got another question for us. But otherwise, we'll listen and hear you next week.
All right. Take care.
Thank you.